Good morning, good morning. Is my audio on? Good morning. Man, seems to be a big delay today, but it looks like everything's working. So again, good morning. I am in my fourth trade already this morning. The kids don't have school today. They had a snow day, so I was able to get a few trades in here already. But it's been kind of just well, let me walk through this really quick. So we had the Delta cross under the confirmation line up here, and I shorted this tick down over here. Ended up coming back to my break even, and we came back up to the red zone, tick down again right here. So I shorted again, move stopped break even after we ticked up from the lower power zone, stopped out break even again. And then I did a third attempt, this time from the green zone, and I was targeting 125 ticks and barely got it right here. So 31.25 points. And because we have this downward sloping confirmation line and we tick down from the upper power zone right here, I went short again. And I'm currently underwater on this one, but it's looking like it's trying to have somewhat of a bull flag breakout here. But yeah, it was a grind trying to get it to drop here. It was dropping ever so slightly, but just kind of grinding down. I really don't like that type of price action. And right now, because we've had, this is more of, I guess, a significant pullback. If we are going into more of a downtrend here, I actually kind of question that now that the delta is above the confirmation line. But let's say that we do drop here. Where would my target be? Well, it's currently at 125 ticks, but this low would probably be a good target. This 5-minute order block would be another good target. And VWAP down here at 555, 556 would be another good target. We are flashing our I was going to say our third, well, it's our third tick down from the upper power zone, but it's our first lower high. K. John, good morning. Yeah, it was really trying to fight its way down there, and the bulls kept pushing it back up. We did lose the 200 for a moment there, and then we got back above it. So I don't know. I feel like we're kind of neutral right now. It's 8:19. Got the market open in about, well, it's going to be 8:20 here in 5 seconds. Market open in 10 minutes. Let's take a quick look at News for today. We got existing home sales at 9 a.m. We already had this unemployment this morning at 7:30. Market jostled around a little bit, but it wasn't too crazy. But besides that existing home sales, there's not really much going on today. Tomorrow we have core retail sales. Retail sales, core PCE price index at 7:30. And that is about it. Yesterday we had a huge drop. And looking back, I kind of wish I would have stuck in there a little bit longer and traded a little bit more, because it just kept dropping after I left. I left with 189 points profit, and I stepped away to do some things and went to go pick up the kids, and I came back and I just looked back at the chart, and there were still like some huge trades. Like even at, I think it was 255. Let's go back there really quick. So like right before market close, yeah, right here, 250. Yep, 255. Didn't quite hit that upper power zone. But so you took this tick down from the red zone up there. I mean, look how small 125 ticks is. It's so tiny. But there's like virtually no drawdown if you would have got in there. And it ran 300 points. Still right there at the close. You know, 300 points in less than 10 minutes, which is amazing. But look at all of this that I left on the table yesterday. Tons of downside. That was like a trading dream. I wish I would have stuck around a little bit longer for that, but still had a decent day. All right, well, here's my first loser today. Looks like I got stopped out. It's all right. There will be more. L. Chalwell, good morning. Taking a look at the higher time frames. On the hourly, we are technically bearish. Got this downward sloping confirmation line. However, the signal is above the delta, and the delta is rising. So on a lower time frame, there could be some bullish action in there. On the 15-minute, we are technically bullish, and the confirmation line is starting to get a positive slope ever so slightly. On the 5-minute, technically we're bearish because the delta's under the confirmation line. It looks like the confirmation line might be trying to turn over here. We'll see. The 5 is, I guess, more neutral territory, so I'll go flip that to neutral. You know, on the 5, we've been in this uptrend. We've tried to dip below the confirmation line here and again here. So it kind of feels like we might start to pitter out here and turn back down. There, we just got another tick down from that upper power zone. We'll see what the open does here. Usually, if we open with the signal in the upper power zone, we go down. And if we open with the signal in the lower power zone, we usually go up. So right now, I'm still leaning more towards the downside. Raphael, good morning. Is there a similar indicator that could be available in NT8? I think NT8 has a cumulative delta, but it's totally different. The standard cumulative delta indicators on other platforms, they're just not laid out this way. They don't have this concept of, well, to think back, do they have the concept of delta candles? I don't remember. I don't think they do, but they don't have the confirmation line on there, which is basically a moving average of those. The signal line is really important for timing the price action in relation to the buying and selling pressure. As far as I know, this is the only cumulative delta that is actually laid out this way. Bull's still trying to push it up here. It's possible that we try to push out and take out this high. If we do have broadening formation going on here, potentially. We'll go ahead and mark it like that for now and see how this plays out. But even with the Browning formations, the target would be this high. Not the extreme target would be the yellow line. But we're closing in on that right now. I marked the downward sloping trend line here for this potential bull flag breakout. Looks like that's playing out. Yeah. My magnet can screw that up. There we go. So I was in a short trade there, so mentally it's hard to flip long in this situation, but we had a rising delta. And we had a bull flag consolidation, the downward sloping trend line, and we got a tick up right here with the positive delta. So in the playbook, this does satisfy the requirement for a bull flag breakout. So you would enter right here. And looks like that's close to hitting 31 points there. Was trying to give that short a little bit more room, so I wasn't really interested in that one, but all right, are we open? We are open. So see, we just took out that high and we are dropping so far. Remember what I said, if we open with a signal in the upper power zone, it loves to drop it on the open. I say it because I don't really know who or what, but that's what it typically does. It did get bought up pretty quick though. Notice how it pulled down right to the session VWAP. That's that anchored VWAP, the orange line. So after such a big drop yesterday, I'm kind of unsure about what to expect for today, whether we just kind of chop sideways or if we continue the down move, or whether we bounce back up. Let's check out the hourly chart quick. Yeah, ever since that huge drop, we've been just kind of grinding back up here. There isn't really a double bottom or anything down here. Wouldn't be surprised if we drop and a little bit more, create more of a double bottom. Back to that anchored VWAP. Got some chop going on in there too. Remember, we have that existing home sales at 9. It might want to wait to choose a direction until then. It is looking a little heavy though. Just pulled up to that 8 SMA. We'll see if it drops from here. Delta starting to round over. Aggressive sellers stepping in. Still haven't really had a clear entry though. Looks like I was right on my short just a little too early. Wanted to take out that high first. Back down to the Browning formation. That is a pretty hard drop there. Again, wish I would have had a clearer entry on that one. Now down to VWAP, which is also this 5-minute order block. That was quite an aggressive push down. Those Delta candles are super thick. The volatility is very high. That 4 times ATR is at a 96 right now. So I know my 80 tick stop is going to be tiny. See what that looks like. There's an 80 tick stop right there. Doesn't even cover a single candle. So I mean, you really need to have, gosh, like 156 tick stop on this to trade that effectively. So I'm either gonna wait or just size down even more. So far, that VWAP and that 5-minute order block has been the bounce zone. You can usually get away with a smaller stop if you trade your entries on the 8. I tried to put a limit order up here, but it didn't get me. Top of that wick is right there, and I was like right under the 200 right there. So, like I said, with, you know, entering on the 8, you can usually get away with a shallower stop. Entries are a lot more precise. I canceled my order, by the way, so I'm not in there anymore. Once it tests it once, I'm not really interested anymore. If I had got picked up right there, let's see if I would have got a, yeah. Would have got 31 points. But it looks like we're gunning to go back up to the top of this broadening formation. The confirmation line is now kind of flat in the middle of the indicator. That usually tells us we're ranging. Signal didn't quite make it to that lower power zone, but it almost did. The tick up would have been right here. In order to not get stopped out, you would have had to have a stop that was at least 120 ticks. So now that we took out this prior high from before, this actually becomes the next target. And we could end up with like a broadening formation within a broadening formation here. What's up?
I'm just hungry.
You're hungry? What do you want?
Breakfast.
You want breakfast? Well, do you want to wait for your brother and sister to get up?
Maybe. No, I'm hungry right now.
She's hungry right now. Okay, well, hold on a second because I might have to get in a trade right now.
Okay, hold on a second.
Stealth, good morning. We had this tick down right here, and the delta is still, those delta candles are super thick. I want to go ahead and trade with the flow of that delta. With this volatility, though, and sitting on top of VWAP, it could be a little dangerous. So here, I'm going to get my daughter a little breakfast really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, what did I miss? Looks like I just missed a lot of volatility, choppy action. Yeah, your stops in this price action need to be huge if you're going to trade it. Otherwise, just wait. It'll settle down. It is just dangerous territory right now. Go ahead and mark out the 15-minute range. Let's see what we're dealing with. There's the 8:30 candle, 8:44 is right here. There's the top of the range. There's the bottom of the range. All right, so as long as we stay inside this orange box, we can expect nasty price action. Looks like that 5-minute order block is doing pretty well. Those are very precise entry points. So the range today is 130 points. Man. Four times ATR is 129 right now. Ideally, I like that between 30 and 70. But when it is big like this, if you can get a precise entry point, you could make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. So you got to weigh that out. What's up?
Too much milk, so I spilled.
You spilled? Uh-oh. She spilled. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. This is what I get to deal with now that the kids have a snow day today. And that's only one of the kids. The other two are still sleeping. Once they wake up, all hell's gonna break loose. Got that existing home sales today in about 7 minutes. See if anything changes on the higher time frames. Well, we had that tick down under the delta on the 5. That's actually really bearish. It's a good short usually. Let's see where that actually was. So that was 835. So close that candle is 840. It's like right here. So I still think we're probably gearing up to drop. I don't know. We're sitting on top of VWAP though. Could go either way here. We'll have to see which side of this 15-minute range we decide to break out of. But just because of the 5, the confirmation line's rounding over, we got that tick down under that falling delta. That's pretty bearish on the 5. And, you know, overall on the hourly, that's bearish. The short term on the hourly, because the signal's above that rising delta, that is, you know, there could be some bullish action in there, which we've seen. But overall, it's probably still going to want to dump back down. And here we go, out of the bottom of the 15-minute range. We did get that tick down under the delta here. Let me see if I can maybe snag a short entry here. I know this is a little risky. I just got picked up right here at 578.75. And I'm out already. That's how quickly things can change when you have 127 on 4 times ATR. What I was trying to do is I was using this order block here as a potential entry point. That was my entry over here. But my 80 tick stop was too darn small. What I should have done is just put it on the 8. Then I would have been up here more. That would have been better. But you see how tiny that stop looks in that price action? It's too small. Any trades you take in here are going to be really risky. And for those of you wondering why I was trying to go short there, well, number one, according to the playbook, see how this delta candle here is a lot thicker than the prior one? And we tick down below a falling delta. That is the impulsive move breakout entry in the playbook. So that's supposed to be a short entry to just go short on this, the close of this candle right here. But to do that effectively, your stop really needs to be like somewhere up here. And so this is still probably the move, but I tried to get a better entry by using this order block over here. Looks like I should have used the 8 instead. That would have been even better. And, you know, that coincided with the fact that we started to break out of the bottom of that 15-minute range. So what's up?
So I don't know. I just
You don't know.
how it is now the couch when I let this wet.
Well, you can go find a different.
Now.
Do you want to go find a different shirt? Well, I'm kind of busy. I can't do that right now. All right, let's go find you a different shirt. I will be right back, guys. Anything happening yet? Well, it's past 9 o'clock. So the news should be in. Still have our falling confirmation line. So overall, I am still bearish. Now my dog is breathing super heavy. So if you hear the heavy breathing, that's not me. That's my dog. Between the kids and the dog. We got that signal above the delta. That's not ideal for looking for shorts. Not unless it's in that upper power zone or in that upper red zone. Still just kind of a choppy mess. Nope, they're not going to make it easy for the shorts. Not yet, anyway. And you know, you look at this. Look how many times I've tried to short today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's going down, but yeah, they're not making it easy. 2 of those are break evens. This one was a winner. And 2 losers so far. That's when trading with the trend isn't always your friend. Not unless you have giant stops. Still says I'm putting my sells at the 30 and 50 EMA. It pops up to it, then sells right off. Yeah, if you look at the EMAs, this is the 20 right here. Every time it's hit the 20, it's sold off pretty quick. So it does feel like they are accumulating to go lower. We are below that 15-minute range. That's pretty bearish. Back up to that 8 SMA and selling off a little. This is the first tick up we've got from the lower power zone in a long time. Since 8:02 this morning. Yeah, it really seems like the only way to do this is to, if you are going to try to short on an EMA or the 8 SMA. But by the time you do that, you'll probably get run over. Stealth, do you find it easier to buy the bottom power zone? Seem to have more success buying the bottom than selling the top. I think it really depends on the scenario. I think they're about the same. What I like about the top is that usually, if you can time those right, it usually drops pretty quickly compared to, you know, usually it takes the stairs up and the elevator down. So that I like about shorting the top, but it depends. It depends on like where, like what the delta is doing in relation to that. So like see over here, I shorted the top, but the delta was still rising pretty aggressively there. So I knew that that was you know, more risky. Now this, the lower, let's see where that lower high was right here. This is the first lower high. If you wait for a lower high, that one's usually pretty good. The first lower high, that was right here. Let's see how much drawdown that one had. Right here. See if my 80 tick stop would have covered it. It's like barely. You probably needed like a 90 or more tick stop on that to make that work. Now this lower power zone, looks like that one's working too. I'm kind of gun shy to take anything at this point with this nasty price action. Definitely would have got 31 points out of that. No drawdown. But I don't know. I guess as far as like success rate, the top versus the bottom, I think they're about the same. Yeah, trust the indicator. I know. I still have a hard time doing that. Now, what did I move down? What is this line right here? Oh. Somehow I ended up moving the sessions indicator down here. That shouldn't be down there. There we go. That's why that looked weird. Maybe it's because the market has been so bullish. Yeah, maybe. We're right back in the middle of that 15-minute range now. So if you were playing power zones and you took that one and you're waiting for the next tick down, like that's a fairly conservative way to trade, to be honest, is to take power zones and just exit whenever you get the next tick down. If you did that, you would still be in this trade. You'd be up 82 points right now. $102. That delta turned on a dime down there. You guys hear me say that a lot. Like when you have a delta cross in a power zone, like see up here, it doesn't really matter so much. But once it gets down here in a power zone, that first delta cross is usually pretty good. So say instead of buying the tick up from the power zone, you just bought the cross, that'd be at 909. You'd still be in here. And if you look back on the chart, same thing happened here. We had this delta cross in the power zone. And there was a decent move to the upside there. Looking back over here at 5:30 this morning, there was that cross in the power zone and there was a good move up. Here's a cross in the power zone in the upper power zone. There was a slight move down, but it wasn't like the others. It recovered pretty quickly. It's only the first one, though. You can't keep doing that with the subsequent ones that occur after that. But again, over here, there's a cross in the power zone. There's a move down. I mean, it's got a fairly high win rate if you go back and backtest that. Can you guys hear my daughter singing in the other room? She's 6, so she likes to entertain herself. That probably doesn't pick up on this microphone, but she's singing away. So see, this scenario right here is very similar to this one earlier where we were rising aggressively and we ticked down from the top. So I'm a little reluctant to short that. Plus, we're back above the confirmation line now. I would feel better if we printed a lower high. Maybe I'll take that one. But let's say you took that and then you took it to the first tick down to be conservative. That trade would have been 75 points. Stealth, you are off to work. Did you make any money today? Or was today a red day for you? I think you said you had a loser in there, right? But usually you've been doing pretty good lately. This price action is tough, so don't feel bad if you aren't doing well today so far. But yeah, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. There is a potential for a bull flag breakout entry here, by the way. I'm a little reluctant to take it, but it is a valid entry in the playbook. So this confirmation line is, I would still call this relatively flat. You know, it was a little positive there, a little negative. Now we're going positive again. So, I mean, it's more or less flat along the middle. So this is something I would identify as a ranging market condition in the playbook. And if you guys remember, in that market condition, the power zones should be the way to go. We did just put in a lower high. Ranging is tough though, because it's kind of hard to identify when it starts, and it's hard to identify when it ends. So with the ranging market condition, your entry is the tick down from the upper power zone right there. And it does look like it's playing out. So power zone to power zone, here to there, that was a good trade, and now you'd be heading back down. That's kind of why I was reluctant to take that bull flag entry that I was talking about. I kind of figured that would be a breakout fake out, just because we're in more of this ranging market condition here. Delta starting to turn negative again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I hesitate on those. I should just I should just start taking them, especially now that all the news is over. It's past 9 o'clock. Things should kind of smooth out from here a little bit. And that rejection there also coincided with this order block that we have over here. So it does all make sense to drop from there. And if we are ranging and you just want to try to increase the probability of a winner, you don't have to take both sides of the range. You could just try to take the side of the range where the overall delta slope is in your favor. So like in this case, I'd say the overall confirmation line slope is down. So in that case, you know, maybe you don't take the tick ups from the lower power zone, but you only do the ones from the upper power zone. As long as that stays negative, shorts from the upper power zone should be the higher probability. Case in point with this last one. So far, that one went 76 points. Again, that 80 tick stop is too small, though. You need to have a bigger stop. In this case, looks like 110 ticks is more like it. Again, it looks like that 8 SMA was probably a good secondary entry there. Even this one up here. So after getting the signal, so that's another way you could play these power zones, by the way. You can, you get the signal first. You don't have to enter right on the close. You could wait for the close under the 8, and then right after you get that close under the 8, put your limit order on the 8, and usually it'll pull up there, wick up to the 8, pick you up, and drop. Now we're getting a tick down under a really fat delta. I'm tempted to short this right here, but I feel like I'm getting in late. Yeah, I'm just going to wait. Yeah, that other one is up over 100 points now. Yeah, going back to those 8 SMA entries, that's detailed in the playbook as well. That is probably the most conservative way to play those. So even this one from the bottom here, this power zone tick up right here, say that you waited for the signal, so you get that. So that's this candle, and but just as more confirmation, wait for a close above the 8, which you get on the very next candle. And then right after you get that close above the 8, you submit your order on the 8, and you get picked up right there on the next candle. And usually that's a wick. So usually very little drawdown on those. G2, we have divergence on the delta compared to price. Do we? Oh, you okay. When I look for divergence, I don't look for it on the delta itself usually. I look for it on the signal line. On the signal, I'm not seeing a divergence on the signal. We are maybe flashing a little bit of bullish divergence here. We basically have relatively equal lows if this ends up ticking up here in that lower power zone on the signal. And we do have a lower low on price, so there is a little divergence there. Yeah. Well, I hesitated on, I said I was tempted to go short right here on this tick down under this falling delta. That would have been right here. Just a little gun shy with the way today's been going so far. This last couple moves, though, those are great. Everything that led up until this 9:08 a.m., everything up until that point was kind of nasty, but it's been great ever since. Starting to get that potential power zone tick up here in 8 seconds. We're still underneath that 8 SMA, so if you're playing power zones, that's your entry. If you're waiting for the conservative entry, you'd wait for a close above the 8 first. We are downtrending though, technically, so shorts are probably the higher probability trade. We did end up breaking that low, so not sure if, but earlier we were talking about how we might be starting to range. But I'm not convinced that's what we're doing. I think we're still gearing up to go lower. Definitely would have got over 100 points if you took that last trade, though. We're sitting here at the daily open. Starting to lose the daily open. And it's funny because with these earlier shorts that I got into, my initial target was down here at the daily open. But it wouldn't drop. It just kept trying to grind its way back up. Still haven't got a close above that 8. So what do you think, guys? Do you think it has chosen the direction? Are we going to trend down? So far, if you look at the confirmation line, that's what it looks like. Confirmation line has this negative slope. And on the 5, we did tick down under a falling delta. That's pretty bearish on the 5. Confirmation line's fallen a little steeper. After yesterday's giant move, I did kind of have a feeling today would be more of a grind. See where we're at in the higher time frames here. Here is the 15-minute. Might as well mark out what we have for order blocks down here. So we did end up kissing this one here. So maybe we do turn around here and move up. Maybe that's why it's been such a grind. This is the 5. Here is our delta cross in that lower power zone that we talked about earlier. That's usually a decent move to the upside. Let me see if maybe I can catch a entry on the 8. And I just got tagged in there. $498.75. That's where I'm in. Now my stop is still super tiny for this trade, so it is a bit risky. That's what we're dealing with today. Yep. It almost... It's within one tick of hitting my stop. I'm trading really small, so I don't really care too much. Whew. So far, I got away with it. Ideally, my stop should be under that low. But like I said, this is typically a good... Okay, now we're printing a delta squeeze. So that first delta cross that lower power zone is usually good. Now we're putting a delta squeeze, which is the another long entry here. But these candles are so big, it's hard to take them on the candle close. Like you have to use an EMA or something else to get a better entry. And for this one, I'm actually going to push it. I'm actually targeting this high up here. So either I'm going to get an exit signal or it's going to really push through. Got my stop at break even now, so I am totally risk off at the moment. Now, I know I am probably really trying to push it by targeting up there. I don't really think we're going to get up there. So instead, I'm probably going to end up exiting if we get a tick down from this upper power zone. It's hesitating a little bit on that 50 EMA. See if we can flag out here and go higher. That 4 times ATR is 117 right now. That's huge. Just tested that 8 SMA. JWAZ isn't here today, so that's why the chat is a little quieter than normal. He said he had some traveling to do today. We are flashing a tick down from that red zone. We are in a downtrend, so, I mean, if we get a tick down in the red zone, I got to be conservative and pull it. Or move to break even. The other thing I could do is wait for a close under the 8. We did get the tick down. It was barely a tick down, so I'm still hanging in there. It does kind of feel like it's going to want to push up higher, though. So I think I'll wait for a close under the 8 or a tick down from that upper power zone. playing with me here. That last candle closed like right on that 8 SMA, so I didn't count that as a close under. It's going to wait for the next candle. Looks like we're pushing up here, so still in. Looks like that delta is gaining a little bit of steam. That candle is thickening up, which is good. We're approaching VWAP. We'll see if we can get above it. And we got the standard VWAP right here at 571. We have the anchored VWAP at 594, which is the same as the 200. So might see a little resistance up there at 594. We'll see if it can blast right through. Might also see some resistance here.
Okay, so, but I'm not going to. What? Cause I'm not going to. You are. No, Kaden. I'm not going to because I'm scared. I'm going to sled.
We're right on the line of that upper power zone, flashing a tick down. Just kind of hoping it would push a little higher before it did that. But we're sitting right on top of that 8 SMA in the 50s right there. Can it hold above? I'm losing my profits very quickly right now. All from this one tick down. So I think I'm going to have to either pull it or trail it. I think I'll start trailing it. Sure. All right, I got my stop under that wick. Is it going to get me? It just got me. That kind of sucks. I was up 86 points on that one. Ev, please. Well, still got 31 and... Wait, where did I get out here? 29 and a quarter. 1 second, guys. Here, use it. It's fine. Just make sure you put socks on if you're gonna do that.
Okay.
And then you gotta put your, okay. You gotta put these things, this, over. It's just not as big. It's just not as big. Okay, really. All right. Gave back like half the profits on that one, but I probably should have just targeted VWAP instead. But I thought waiting for a tick down in that upper power zone would give us a little bit more. And you know what? It barely hit that power zone, so it probably is still going to move up and we'll get another one up there. I forgot to refill my coffee. Be right back. Because she likes to go outside.
Yeah. He and me are going to sled.
Okay. That sounds like fun. She might try. You could take her with you. The kids are going sledding. It's snowing like crazy outside. Got a little chop in the delta right here. First sign of chop in a while. But we are appearing to push up here. I think this 15-minute order block might be the turning point. And the daily open is right there too. So it would make sense to bounce on the daily open. Hey, Evelyn. Shh. Kids. It was a really steep looking broadening formation, but you know, these areas where it starts to do that, those are always really tricky. That's where the longs get stopped out, the shorts get stopped out. It's where it makes this I mean, you end up with like almost like a diamond pattern. You know, anytime you're in a trend and you're in the middle of a trend change, there's always a lot of turbulence there. So that would explain that type of price action if we are trying to turn back to the upside. But if you want like a clear view of what's going on, look at the confirmation line. We do have a ever so slight positive slope on that. So I am looking for a long setup. Now that's just on the 1. On the 5, we're still pretty bearish on the 5. So if you're trying to trade in the direction of the higher time frame, you would be waiting for a short setup. Give it time to work out this turbulence. Rafael Lima. Sorry to bother, but do you have an instructional video on YouTube covering what you look for when using the Cumulative Delta? Well, you know, I think pretty much every live session that I do, I try to cover all of that. But I don't have like a specific video where I'm trying to do that. The playbook is actually your best resource for all of the rules. So download the playbook if you haven't done that already. Give it a read through. Everything is explained in the playbook, but I know some people have a lot easier time watching videos as opposed to reading, so. But give that a read over and then watch a few of the lives and you should get a pretty good idea of what I'm looking for. Your first day here, huh? Well, welcome. But yeah, definitely download that playbook because everything is in there. You might have to read it a few times. There's a lot of info in there. The thing the playbook doesn't really cover are like broadening formations and that type of stuff that I tend to get in this situation where I almost like overanalyze the chart when I get bored. So I'm drawing a lot of stuff on the screen, but you don't need all of that. All you really need to do is follow the indicator. And there's a lot of times where I wish that's all I was doing, and I wish I just got, get rid of everything else that's on my chart, because sometimes that just gives you a little analysis paralysis, Too much stuff to look at. If you want to keep it simple, just add the cumulative delta, follow the rules in the playbook, and you should be good. So at the bottom of this little broadening formation here, and because of that, if we end up getting a tick up from this lower power zone with this ever so slight positive slope on that confirmation line, I'm probably going to end up taking a long here. And there we go. I just went long. Again, my stop is so small for this price action. So would not be surprised if I get stopped out here. And it got me. I'm down 1 point for the day with this crazy volatility. Hold on a second. I gotta let the dog. You guys have to let her out with you because she's barking and I'm on stream. Yeah, ideally, my stop should have been under this low. I should have just moved it. It wasn't that far off, but... see if I would have got hit anyway here. Yep, I would have got hit anyway, so. This broadening formation we were talking about, it is very steep. So the steep ones, I don't like those as much. That confirmation line is starting to slope down again. But usually when it pops above it like that, if the delta falls back underneath, the pop above it is usually a heads up that that's the direction the market really wants to go. So if we end up getting another long setup over here, I'm probably going to take it. The 5-minute is still pretty bearish though, so if we're trying to trade in that direction, we should still be looking for shorts. The price action's just been so choppy. It's kind of, even the shorts. Oh, I suppose this lower high, there was hardly any drawdown on that one. This one from the upper power zone, there's a little bit of drawdown, but yeah, I suppose at the moment the shorts are still a little less risky. Getting a higher low tick up from that power zone. Trying another entry on the 8 SMA this time. Is it going to make me pay? $476. We did close above the 8. That's what I was waiting for. Looks like I did get a wick on that on that 8 SMA. We also got that delta cross in that lower power zone, which is usually a good entry. That occurred on that same candle that I got picked up on. I'm going to go ahead and move to break even on this one. Just to protect myself a little bit. Just to reiterate, if anyone's wondering why I went long there, we had several things of confluence going on. A, we have this 15-minute order block. B, we did take out the liquidity of this other low on the red line. C, we got a higher low tick up in the power zone. And D, this candle closed above the 8 SMA. So after all of that happened, I put my limit order on the 8. And I am currently targeting this order block up here. Which also has confluence with the VWAP. If I can get it, that'll be 86 points. Gosh, it's so much nicer and quieter with the kids outside. La Hong Ting, good morning. Are you just now joining us? It's a little late in the morning here. Ah, you're in Asia. Where in Asia are you? So, earlier when I said when you get this move above the delta and it comes down and then you get a long signal, that little move above, or I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The delta above the confirmation line. When you get that little peak above it and then the delta falls back down, this section right here, the fact that it moved above, that's usually a little heads up that that's the direction the market wants to go. So that's a heads up that you should start looking for longs down here. Hong Kong, huh? What time is it there in Hong Kong? There we go. We just hit our target. 86.5 points on that one. And look at it. It is just pushing right through. This is one of those cases where I probably would be better off waiting for that tick down from that upper power zone. But hey, I tried that before and I lost half my profit, so I didn't want to push it this time. John Duran, any thought on moving your stop to lock in some profits? Well, I just locked in my profit, so I am out. But generally speaking, trailing your stop, or I mean, trailing is definitely an exit method that I haven't been using that much lately, but I used to do that a lot, where I would basically trail these wicks. And as long as it kept moving up, just keep trailing the wicks, and that usually gives you a pretty good price. But lately I haven't been doing that because there's so many times I'd get wicked out and then I would just continue moving that direction. So I still think like a good midway point is to kind of split the difference and just wait for the next tick down. So like here, say I didn't put my take profit on that order block, I'd still be in this trade right now. On this other one, once we got moving, there was a tick down right here, which ended up being exactly where I got stopped out anyway. But I'd say that's probably more the conservative way to do it, because if it really wants to run, If you wait for the next tick down, it could run, you know, quite a ways before you get that. But by exiting on that tick down, you're almost guaranteeing yourself that you're going to have some level of profits. I don't know. There's always a trade-off, you know? That's part of why they call this trading. There are trade-offs with everything. Do you use personal account or do you use prop firms? I do both. Mostly personal, but I'm getting it more into the prop firm side of things. This is really pushing up here. Closing in on this other order block up there. We did get a little smidgen of a tick down from that upper power zone, but you see this move up, it's got a lot of aggression, a lot of momentum in it. So that 15-minute order block ended up definitely being the spot. We also got more of a W pattern going on now. This thing might want to run all the way up to the top of that broadening formation there. This red line right here, this would be the next target if we can get past these order blocks up here. Yeah, it's best not to go long in that upper power zone, that's for sure. The lower power zone, yes. But the upper one, it's kind of dangerous. Especially after it's made a big move like that. That's usually the point where a lot of traders FOMO in and then they lose. That green line there is the previous month high. We also got back above both VWAPs, the anchored VWAP and the standard VWAP. So we'll see if we can hold above those and continue to the upside. I would suspect that's what we're going to do. Probably have a little bit of a pullback first. Yeah, you could go short if there's a bearish divergence. However, as long as this signal stays above the delta, it's going to be really risky to go short. You want the signal to be below the delta up here if you want to go short. And that's only because the delta is in this upper half. If the delta, instead of rising so aggressively like this, if the delta would have kind of remained relatively flat down here, and then you get a tick down from that upper power zone, then yes, you can short that all day long. But when it shows this aggression moving up like that, and the signal's above the delta, that's actually really bullish. So if the signal pulls back above the delta and then ticks up, and the delta continues to move in this upward direction, that would potentially be a long entry. Usually that's a bull flag breakout when you see that. But if the delta starts doing this and rolling over, and the signal pulls down, comes up and ticks down, that's your short right there. On the hourly, it looks like we're putting in a delta squeeze setup. If we close this way, that's a tick up above this rising positive delta. So on the hourly, that's bullish, but we have another 27 minutes until that's confirmed. We also have a tick up above the delta on the 15, which is bullish. Now we just got to get the 5-minute to fall in line. But this move here, that was really nice. That's a nice, smooth looking delta. That's what you want to see. You want to see these nice, smooth oscillations and these smooth transitions. You don't want to see this thin, spotty, choppy delta. Like all this stuff is junk. All this thin stuff up here is junk. Delta is starting to roll over a little bit. We did get that lower high in that upper power zone. But again, like when you've had that much of a aggressive move to the upside, it's going to be pretty risky to short that still. This is likely just going to be a pullback, and then we're going to set up again for another long. Raphael, can I run this indicator with the TradingVIew free version? The free version allows you to have so many indicators. What is it, like 3 or 4 or something like that? So yeah, I think so. As long as you have like an open indicator slot, sure, you can run it. If to run my specific setup that I have here, where I have the 1 minute, the 5, the 15, the hourly, I mean, that's right there. That's 4 indicators. Then if you start adding VWAP, adding the 8 SMA, you know, all of that stuff, that's going to eat into your indicator count. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to have. But hey, if you just want to run one on the entry time frame and not look at anything else, that's totally doable. You can do that. It's kind of nice having these other things on the screen, but at the same time, sometimes they're distracting too. You know, sometimes it's easier just to focus on the cumulative delta and nothing else. So we pulled down to VWAP there, and it looks like we're bounced on VWAP. Getting a little bit of a bull flag breakout here. Tempted to go long, but our ATR is still at a 90, which is really high, so it'd be really easy to get stopped out if you enter on the close of that candle. Plus, we might potentially have a little mini broadening formation going on here. And with that, if it rejects here, you can easily end up right back down to this yellow line. So kind of a, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of going long here, put it that way. It might work out, but you know, now that we got that tick up there, it's a more conservative entry to enter on this order block here if it can pull back there. It might not get there, but if it rejects off that line, you know, and that's also the anchored VWAP, that orange line. So 586.25, something like that. That would be a good conservative entry. That's also the 20 there, or 21. The thing that you risk in that scenario is just not getting picked up. Well, and if it plows right back down, it could take out this low, and then you'd get stopped out, but that's obviously a risk. But it's definitely a better entry than trying to get in way up here. Delta's still showing some weakness. Showing chop up there, alternating between positive and negative. I just got picked up on that order block at 587.50. Which again is also that anchored VWAP. Now if we start closing under the 20 here, I'm probably just going to pull the plug because that delta is looking really weak. All right, I just pulled it for a very tiny loss at 585.50. So, lost 2 points on that. And that's, hate to even call that a loss. It's more of a break even. Yeah, let's just call that a break even. It's 2 points. You know, on those types of entries, you don't really want it to close inside the order block. You want it to be a wick. You want to see that the bulls are still in charge and trying to run with it. And with a weak delta like this, I mean that's telling you that at that moment the bears are in charge. So not that interested in a long there. So I'll just wait for the next long setup. We're also back inside our 15-minute range, so it could just not do anything from here. Could just go sideways. It is getting to be about that time. It is almost 11:45 Central Time. People in New York are going to be going on lunch. Notice how we're chopping the 8 now. That is that's a good, easy, straightforward way to gauge whether or not you're chopping. It's just to see if you're chopping the 8. It should stay on one side of the 8. If it's on both sides, that's no good. So if we reevaluate what's going on here, on the 5, we're flashing a tick down from that upper half with a falling confirmation line. So that's, you know, that's bearish on the 5. On the 1, we do have a falling delta at the moment. We have a rising confirmation line, so there's some disagreement there. This is always where you can run into some chop when you have a disagreement between the two. But the signal is almost to this lower power zone here. So if that delta remains thin or positive, and we do get the signal to come down and tick up from that lower power zone, as long as this confirmation line is positive, as long as that slope is positive, that should be a good long. But again, it kind of disagrees with what the 5 is telling you. But see, in the 5, you got the same sort of deal. You got disagreement between the confirmation line and the delta. Delta's rising, confirmation line's falling. But the delta is under the confirmation line, so the falling confirmation line, generally speaking, takes priority. So that's why the 5 minute is still overall bearish. And we're getting a tick up from the green zone. It's not quite in that lower power zone. So this is a potential long. It's usually better if you can get it in the power zone. It's not official either. It was just flashing. I'm going to go ahead and try a long on the 8 since we did get that tick up. See if I can get picked up. Just a little more conservative of an entry. You risk missing the trade if it really wants to run. All right, it just picked me up at 588.25. Now again, we got this falling delta going against us here. So if we tick down under a falling delta, then I'm going to want to pull it. I'm targeting this high at 628.75. It's looking really weak though. That delta is still negative. Still falling. We are ticking down. So if it closes this way, I'm going to pull the plug. And I'm out. So Lost 14 3/4 on that one. But like I said, that falling delta, as long as that's falling and you're getting a tick down, you have the odds kind of going against you there. So it's easier to just pull the plug and not let your full stop get hit if you can help it. That takedown on the 5, it looks like it was official at that 10:45 candle when that closed. So the 5 is saying we should be looking for shorts. But anytime there's a little bit of this disagreement going on, you're going to end up with some chop. So I don't know. It's looking like we're going to head back down and revisit the bottom of that broadening formation. Potentially. It did take out this low. So right there. So that's the target from the top of the broadening formation. You know, earlier I was saying I would prefer a tick up from that lower power zone. So this one here, it might have just been too early. Those are typically going to be more risky. You know, the best scenarios where you take a tick up that's in the green zone that's not in a power zone is when the delta is still kind of riding up here in the upper power zone. But in this case, it's not up there yet. Not only did it fall short, but it's been really weak. So that trade right there is it's not a great setup. Delta is above the confirmation line, but it's too weak. Now, this tick up is probably a better trade from that lower power zone. Plus, we took out liquidity there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give this one a shot if we end up getting the tick up here. I don't like that big candle though, so I'm going to put my limit order a little bit lower. See if I can get picked up above this wick high on that prior candle. Might miss the trade though. So far, so good, though. Those power zones. You know, I think it's just about every day when I question whether or not I should just trade power zones and nothing else. Because then I wouldn't have these other little losers in there, you know? Still got my limit order sitting there. Is it going to get me? I just got picked up. So 558.50 is where I'm in. Hold on a second. Kids just came in from sledding, of course. Someone's all right. Kids, of course, are fighting with each other. All right. What did I miss here? We did just get another tick down. Delta's still negative. I got a feeling we're going to pop up a little here, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a chance to pop up. And if it doesn't, I'll pull it. Come on. Pop back up here. Just trying to put in a higher low on that signal. That's what I was hoping to see. That confirmation line is still positive, so we do have that going in our favor. However, that delta is still fairly weak, and she's not popping, so I'm just going to pull it at break even here. So I'm out at break even, and I will wait for the next setup. I needed to see a little bit more of a pop there, and we didn't really get it. So this could just be lunchtime sideways action that we're gonna get here for a little bit. Still could put in this higher low, and that'd be another potential entry. Nope, didn't get the higher low. Keep in mind the 5 is still pointed down. Here comes that higher low in the lower power zone. So I think I'm going to give this one more shot here, and if this doesn't work out, I'm probably just going to call it. If we get the higher low. Got about 5 seconds. Didn't get the higher low, but maybe we'll get it this time. We do have that higher low printing. Let's see if we close this way. Now it just disappeared. Now it's back. Now it disappeared. Delta's crossing back under that confirmation line. Just might be too weak. Maybe everybody went to lunch. Still trying to push down here. Got another order block over here on the daily open. That might be a bounce point, but I don't know. Here's the, looks like this might be it here. Is this going to be the power zone tick up that does it? That delta is tapering. I'm going to try an entry on the 8 if we close above the 8. And we closed above. Got my entry there. And I just got picked up. $550 to $25. Not looking good. All right, guys, I think I am going to be done for the day. 50 points, it looks like, is what I'm going to end with. At least for now. I'll probably put on a few more trades if things start looking a little bit better, but still a positive day. Yeah, so I guess we will see you guys back again tomorrow morning, same time. I was going to say, unless I decide to jump on another stream this afternoon, but I doubt that's going to happen. So good luck, and we will see you guys tomorrow. All right.
Oh, wow, look at that move. It's like one of those big Delta candles. I mean, who even trades those tiny candles anymore? I like big fat candles, I can't deny. When the Delta's green and riding high, when a chart spikes thick with a bullish wick, I'm glued to my screen, that's the trick. I want to bounce quick, can't let it go. Big Delta bars, let that volume show. I'm zooming out, yeah, that's my groove. Catching waves in a Delta move. Wanna trade slow? Nah, too tame. This market's got heat, I'm in the game. Delta's skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries, stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's not golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're a bore. Give me fat Deltas, I want more. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah. I wanna break through. You know, don't you fold. Big Deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. I like big fat candles, can't deny. When the volume surges up so high, skinny trades can take a seat. Big fat Deltas are what I be. Well, traders low, let me see that life is good. Am I happy? Delta skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries, stacking tall. No weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's my golden key. Big Delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're aboard. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those big moves, yeah. Wanna break through, you know. And hold and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. Like those thick moves, yeah. Wanna break through, you know. Then hold, then play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it